Stop it. Stop. 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 Okay, tip. Okay, that's what I get for touching too many buttons. Hello and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show tonight. I think it's going to be a really good show. Tonight we're going to be talking about psychic abilities. And I couldn't remember if I've talked about this before. And if I have, oh well. And if not, yay. Okay, so I got everything going on here. Okay. Oh, and I want to say hey to my YouTube peeps and my Facebook peeps. And this is for the Facebook censor people. The intro music was written by Dr. Bob, and it is a royalty-free piece of music that you can't even find on the internet. And if you want to keep challenging me about ownership, please send me a copy of your piece of music, and we can compare notes. I have no issue taking this down, but I've been using this theme song since 2006. So if you can beat that, I welcome the challenge. Anyway, you just got to love it. You got to love it. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about psychic abilities and kind of with a little bit different spin. I offer at, here, I'll click the little button, at the AppliedEnergeticsInstitute.com training for people to become a medical intuitive counselor, or energy medicine practitioner. And so people know that I train people in developing psychic abilities. And I get a lot of people that want to learn to be psychic, but their end goal is to learn how to be able to read themselves. And there's a world of difference between doing a reading for somebody else where, you're sitting across the table, maybe you got some tarot cards down or runes, or, you're doing the pendulum or muscle testing. I mean, however you might be reading the other person, but they're over there and we can look at, feel into, and perceive their energy, which is a whole lot easier and a whole lot different than perceiving our own energy. And it's not that it's hard, but nobody really teaches you how to do it. And nobody talks about how to tap into it or what that is like. Yeah, there are similarities, but no, because we have to work through our own filters. And so there might be something that, you're in a crappy relationship, and God, the universe, your spirit guides, every, ghostly person on the planet is like in your head at night going, run away, and you can just sit there and totally ignore it, and not read yourself at all. And so again, and I'm going to dig in, there's a whole lot of difference between reading somebody else and that interface and reading yourself. When you're reading yourself, it really is about acknowledging and raising your awareness to the internal sensations, the internal messages that you get. And the key is you have to accept them without judgment and go with it and not allow your mind or your ego or your inner critic to take over and take control. So I got a million stories, so, so this was one, and I thought it was, so it was 2001. And at that time, there was an organization called Whole Life Expo who ran, one of the largest metaphysical events in the country. And their event went to different cities, so they would have a Whole Life Expo in San Francisco, and they would have one in New York, and they would have one in Orlando, and they would have one, and in Texas. And so they had one in Austin, which was phenomenal. I mean, I didn't get out of my chair literally for 3 days. I mean, I would start at 9 in the morning and it ended at 9 at night, but by 7:30, I was just exhausted. And so they decided to come back to Texas, but they weren't going to go to Austin, which I thought was a little strange, and they were going to do the event in Dallas. And so my cognitive mind kept going, well, where Austin is located, it would get people that came from Houston, they would get people from San Antonio as well as Dallas, all feeding into this event. If it was just in Dallas, it's a pretty fair hike to get from Houston or San Antonio to Dallas. And I just think from a location point of view, like my little, analytical mind was going, I don't know, I just kind of wasn't feeling it. But I've done a number of their events in different cities, and they've always been good. And so I was in a little bit of a conundrum about whether I should get a booth. And I just kept getting this weird feeling like, don't get a booth. I mean, they're expensive. Trust me, those booths are expensive. And I listened to myself and didn't get a booth. So the fair started the first day, and I'm just kind of guessing here a little bit. The first day of the fair was September 12th, 2001. So the day before was the day the towers came down. Air travel was suspended around the country. The majority of the speakers who were supposed to present at this event, and they had a lot of speakers and a lot of vendors, didn't come. And they opened the door and let people in for free, just trying to salvage that one event. And Whole Life Expo is no more. That was the last event they did, which is very sad because it was a great event. But it wasn't like there was this booming voice going, oh, you should do this or whatever. There was nothing definitive. It was just kind of this uneasy feeling that I got. Another quick story. All right, maybe not so quick because I'm a little wordy. I was working at this job, and it was September, and I just kept getting this message that I needed to pay down debt, and pay it down to the point where there was a car payment and a house payment, and then your basic bills, but not, that was the only debt that I wanted to have. And I put it on a schedule, and I needed to, by the end of March, have all of this debt paid off. That was the schedule. And so, I was married, and my husband wasn't particularly thrilled with me because I was sending this credit card $300 a month and this one $500 a month, and I was just paying down the debt. January 18th, I got let go from my job. The interesting part is that they offered all of the employees that they let go a severance package, which gave them full pay till the end of March. And so I was able to complete my, pay down agenda, but it also opened up the possibility for me to not have to go back and get another job and do this work full time, which is what I've done since then. Very cool. Um, so you might wonder, well, how do you tap into this? How do you know? And one of the things I like to say is that it really is based on the question. So if there's something that you want to do, or you're thinking about, or you're not sure if you should do, then ask the question. Should I be doing this? Should I go? And I say this is a Dr. Rita rule, but I stole it from somebody, but it sounds really good as a Dr. Rita rule. And that is a yes is a yes, a no is a no, and a maybe is really a no that your mind is trying to justify into a yes. So example, do you want $1 million? And I'm sure everyone that's listening is going, I'm good with $1 million, especially after that guy won like $1.7 billion. It's like, I'm still good with $1 million, and then, the other end of the spectrum is, do you want to do your taxes? Do you want to go clean your bathtub? And usually the answer is a pretty straightforward no. And so those are the two ends of the spectrum, the very definite and hard yes, and the very definite and hard no. And anything that falls in the middle falls into that maybe category. And so going back to like that whole Life Expo story, I thought I wanted to go, or I kept asking, should I go? And I just had this very wishy-washy feeling about it. And I never got the definite, yes, I want to go. I also didn't get the definite, no, you shouldn't go. But I listened to the maybe, because the maybe means no. And when we listen to ourselves, it's like we're in communication with our higher self. We're in communication with God, and, the universe, source, whatever word you want to put on that. And it's usually trying to guide us to move forward to some place that's good for us, that's healthy for us, that's in our best interest. So even if you're in a relationship, okay, and you're laying in bed and you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and your mind is going, I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill them. That might be something that you should listen to, because there's this piece of you that is saying them, no. But there's this other piece of you that won't do anything about it because it's hard and there's a lot of resistance around it. But when you hit that kind of energy, that kind of resistance, maybe that's the time to take a step back, and use some of the tools, which I know we've talked about, the breathing or the tapping or doing some journaling or talking to a friend to kind of sort out what you're feeling, because obviously you're feeling something, you're experiencing something in your inner world. I'm like going, what time is it? All right, I've been going for 15 minutes. All right, actually, I want to talk about this and then I'm going to wrap it up. So how do we receive this information? So we can receive it in, I'm going to say, 3 primary ways. It could be a feeling like it just doesn't feel good, or it feels really good, and there's a lot of excitement and a lot of momentum tied to it. It might be that we get an image in our mind that gives us the answer to the question, because I'm telling you, the question is the key, but it'll provide you the answer to the question. Very quick, had to empty out the bottom of my dishwasher, and I'm there with a cup trying to scoop it out, which wasn't working. And I'm like, okay, so what else can I use to do this? And the picture that came into my mind, which was so off the cuff, was a turkey baster. A turkey baster. I have to tell you, it worked really good. So I was like, all right, thank you for the turkey baster. So sometimes you get weird answers to your questions, but you should take them under advisement. Sometimes you might hear words, usually when spirit is talking to us, when our higher self is talking to us, it comes as a word or a very short phrase. It's not this long, drawn out justification talking you into it. It's just like, well, you might do this. or hydrangeas. True, true. Um, sometimes the information, it might be you're listening to something on the radio and you hear the answer to the question coming, over the airwaves or out of a friend's mouth or out of a book. Um, but again, it's asking the question and being open to receiving that answer. And there's a big and taking action based on it, even if the action is to decide you're not going to do something. All right, so I'm sharing this today, and I'm hoping everyone that hears this is listening to this on YouTube, Facebook. Maybe we'll revisit this topic in a couple of weeks, because I would love to hear if any of you try to incorporate this information, this awareness into your life, and what kind of results you get. Because it is really important for us to listen to ourselves, because often when we don't, down the road, we sit there and, knock ourselves in the head and go, wow, why didn't I listen to myself? So listen, because it's not you. A lot of the times it's source, God, universe, higher self, soul, whatever word you want to put there. Okay, I'm done with that for today. I just want to remind you, if you would like to schedule a private consultation with me, please go to my website, soulhealer.com. It's got lots of articles, and you can get my books there, etc., etc. Please like me, Dr. Rita Louise, on Facebook. That's Dr. Rita Louise on Facebook. Or if you want to find me on YouTube, because it does stream live on YouTube, it would be at Just Energy Radio. If you're on YouTube, please like the channel, subscribe, get the notifications, send me a note, thumbs up, all them YouTube things. Do all that. And again, if you are interested in becoming a energy healer, intuitive counselor, or a medical intuitive, this is a distance learning training, a professional level distance learning training that is available to you. Okay. So now I'm going to open up the lines. There's already 9 comments. Yay. I love when there's comments. I love when you guys talk to me. Okay, so let's see. So we have Christine that says, hello, how are you doing today? Christine, I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for coming back to the show today. Hi, Grace from Southern Ohio. And my old buddy Marco is here. All right, so Marco says, still didn't get notified. Not really sure how to make that happen. We have Sun in the house. We have Shermanator Osborne. Shermanator Osborne. Well, that is a blast from the past. And we have Miss Wendy Dillard in the house. Hey, Miss Wendy. It has been forever since you and I have crossed paths. We have Lynn Burney and my fam, Miss Jody Regos. Okay, so I have a question from Christy. So I know that there are a few of you that are new here. If you would like to get a reading, if you want to ask a question that doesn't have to do with getting a reading, like about tapping into your psychic ability, since that was the topic tonight, just post your question below. Okay, and here are the rules of engagement. I don't talk to dead people. I don't predict the future. So, so if you ask me what's going to happen next Tuesday, it ain't going to happen on this show. If you ask me about like your dead aunt, it ain't going to happen on the show, and I'll probably give you a bad time, because that's what I do. All right, so Christine, let's see what she has to say today. My question is, when you have time, is what does Lisa... Huh? Okay. I have to like slow down. My question is, when you have time, is what does Lisa feel towards Becky? Like, does Lisa envy or have jealousy towards Becky? Okay, so even though there's this very gossipy piece of me that would maybe want to dig into that, um, from an ethical point of view, what they feel toward each other is what they feel toward each other. And I don't know that it's really my place to get in the middle of that or make commentary. Now, if Lisa wants to come on or Becky wants to come on and ask about the other person, I'm all about it. But Christine, since you're a third party, I just feel a little bit uncomfortable with that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. So Sun says, my question is, would it be most beneficial to take this upcoming travel trip or stay local and focus on new work opportunities? Okay. Okay, so Sun, I get the impression that the trip you're talking about isn't for forever. And I feel like it would be really good for you to go on this trip, mostly because it will kind of open you up and give you a chance to kind of discharge, the summer and move back when you get back, have a better internal place so that you can focus on new work opportunities. So I feel like there's a real healing piece that this trip is going to provide you, where if you just stay local, your energy is going to be like, oh, I need to focus, and you won't, because you're too busy focusing on what you're trying to focus on, which makes it so that we can't really focus because we're too busy focusing. So that's my opinion. Take the trip. It'll be good. It'll be healing. You'll come back with a new attitude. Okay. All right. So Miss Wendy says, I have been experiencing extreme fatigue. Some days I feel like I need to take a nap after only being awake for a few hours. This keeps me very, very sedentary. The fatigue has been going on for a number of years and seems to be getting worse as time goes by. Can you give me some insights into what's causing this? So, Wendy, one of the things that we have talked about, and I'm going to turn this off because it's kind of, it's blocking my face. One of the things that we've talked about on this show is just the weird energy that's been on the planet that is creating fatigue for a lot of people. Which, the answer I've gotten regarding that part, and I'm going to come back to your question in more detail, but the answer I've gotten to that part is that we just really need to focus on our energy and work on keeping everybody else's energy out and keep ourselves in alignment. So I feel like, and I know that you're sensitive, that is also, and I'm going to say, adding a layer into this whole thing. Okay. So one of the, all right. So I'm going to just like kind of knock out some physical things. Okay. So first thing that I want to make a comment on is your thyroid is seeming a little bit low. I don't know if, I don't remember if you're taking any kind of thyroid supplementation, whether it would be low in the medical model to the point where they would want you to take like an Armour thyroid or whatever. I don't know, but I feel like it's kind of low. I'm not sensing adrenal fatigue, but when I check into that area, I just get the impression that there's kind of these like feet in the sand where I don't really want to do anything. So perhaps it's time for you to take a step back, and instead of trying to keep moving forward on the path or in the direction that you've been trying to head, to just let that go, and I'm not saying you can't pick it back up, but let that go and open yourself up to potentially a very new direction for yourself, because I'm feeling like there's so much energy tied to it of like, well, I should be doing this, I should be doing this, I should be doing this, that it really is defeating the purpose and just making it be worse. And I'm going to say this out loud, and you're going to be like, no, I can't believe she said this. You might want to go just get a regular job somewhere, to just take the pressure off, to take the energy off, to take the worry off about, I should be doing this, because then you just kind of show up and they pay you money. And I feel like it would change that dynamic. And I'm not talking about for the rest of your life, but I'm talking about for a little bit, so that you can have like an emotional reprieve from what's going on inside. Okay, if you have a follow-up on that, just post it below and we'll come back to it. All right, so Kit says, I met someone today that said she had a near-death experience, and she is a flat earther. And now she's a flat earther from what she saw. What are your feelings about that? Huh. Okay. So I've heard of people who have had, and that great question. I mean, I don't know about the flat earther part, but we'll see what comes out of my mouth. So it is not uncommon that people that have near-death experience to leave their body and have some kind of experience, and often they will come back with some kind of a psychic ability, or they've had, they've seen Jesus, they do stuff. I don't know what to say about the flat earth part. I used to run a radio show, just Energy Radio, and it had interviewed great people, Neil Donald Walsh and Jesse Ventura and, Ram Dass, and I never could get a flat earther to come on the show, because I really couldn't wrap my mind around what they had to say, and I was interested in hearing their evidence. I think, if it was me, I think I would just try to honor her experience, because people do have very profound experiences as part of the near-death experience. And so if that was her experience, then, it's kind of like you're talking to someone and they say that they've been abducted. You might be going, okay, they're a little bit of a crackpot. But you have to honor their experience of that was their experience. I hope that makes sense. Okay. All right. We got time. Okay. So Christine is back. Is how do I find my conscious mind? So Christine, our conscious mind is the part of the mind that you think with. So we're, I want to say we're aware of our conscious mind, but a lot of the time we're not. We don't pay attention to what's in our conscious mind. So, and we just let it run on autopilot. So if you are hanging out and you're thinking about work, that's what's in your conscious mind. If the thought changes to you watching your cat walk across the room and go, wow, my cat is goofy, that's the thought that's in your conscious mind. And your conscious mind houses your thoughts that you are aware of. And then there's all this stuff that happens on the subconscious, and that's a whole conversation. But it is the topic of my book that hopefully will be out at the beginning of the year. But to kind of answer that question, it's about stopping and paying attention. And if you've been watching the show or the archives, it's doing the breathing, it's doing the tapping. That kind of stops the forward movement of thoughts in our head so that we can slow down. But it becomes, and it's a practice of just going, oh, I'm in my head, my brain is activated. And then again, asking those questions and being open to receiving whatever happens. But usually it works better when you're in that kind of grounded, calm, mindfulness place. All right, Lexi, I always love reading yours, sort of. Okay. Last time I asked why I was still at this job, you said it was because a position was going to open in another department. I did apply to another position, just wanting to hear, and of course, getting antsy. How do you feel about the position I applied to? But you didn't apply for the position here that you were telling me about, which would have been so cool because it would have been nice having. Okay, that's kind of a mixed bag on that one, but it would be cool having you here, but then other people would come here, and that would not be cool. Okay, hang on one second. Okay, so I'm looking at the position you applied to. I feel like, well, one, they're just really dragging their feet. I do not feel like you're out of the running. I don't know. I keep getting this image of this, like, and I'm going to say young kid that is also in competition for the job. Not as much experience, but younger. But I feel like it's kind of down to 2, maybe 3. But no, you definitely are not out of the competition. But they really are a dragon butt. And I don't get the impression that you going and doing and saying anything is going to change that. Because the people that you would normally interact with are not the deciders, so maybe it went up to a higher level for their approval, but yeah, just be patient, breathe. Hey, Terry. Hey, Mary. Okay. Marco says I'm awesome. That's because he loves me and I gave him $20. Okay. So Christine said, very true. Thank you. And Alexis said, definitely dragging butt. Veronica's in the house and she said, hey. All right. And Terry says, hey, finally made it. Yeah, it's great to see you, Terry. So we still have plenty of time. So earlier I was talking about psychic abilities, and how we can read for ourselves, or not read for ourselves. One of the pieces of advice that I give to people as they're looking to tune in, or, it's not even tune in. Scratch that word. To acknowledge. It really is about acknowledging the information that you're already receiving. So, for example, and these are my very lame examples. So you get up in the morning and you're getting ready for work. And for some reason, this thought crosses your mind that you should take a sweater or you should take an umbrella. And you're like, and you look out the window, you're like, oh, it's a beautiful day. I don't need that. And you leave the house. And on your way home, it is downpouring and your car is really far away. And in your mind, you're going, oh man, I should have brought that umbrella. All right. So if you're a regular here, Cindy, who comes in here regular. I was at her house and I was brushing my teeth. I mean, I was there for the weekend. I was brushing my teeth and the bathroom sink was stopping up, the upstairs bathroom sink. And so now she's kind of having a little cow about it. Tries to call her plumber. He's not there. And I'm like, don't worry, I won't use that sink. It won't overflow, blah, blah, blah. And apparently she knew that the air conditioner line ran through that sink. And so if it didn't get unclogged, it was just a matter of time before that sink overflowed all over the floor. So it really wasn't just about me brushing my teeth. Okay. So I go out, I'm out doing stuff, and I get back in my car to head back to her house. And I listened to talk radio in my car, but it was a Saturday. And the only thing that was on was this home improvement show. Guess what they were talking about? How fungus can get in your air conditioner lines that run through your bathroom sinks and how it can clog them up. And their recommendation was to take a cup of bleach and pour it down the sink. And so I'm like driving back, like, we got to get some bleach. We got to get some bleach. And she's looking at me like, you're freaking crazy. I'm like, we talked about it. It came on the radio right there. I think we should put the bleach down there. By that night, no more clog. So when you listen, you get the benefit. When you don't listen or you argue or you fight, then not so much, not so good. You sit there and wonder why you didn't listen to yourself. All right, so Lynn says, so I applied to many apartments here in Jersey because I'm staying with friends due to losing everything in a fire this April. Can you tell me when one will call? I'm so anxious to go back to having my own place. Okay, so Lynn, that's a little bit of a future question, but for some reason I can usually timeline. So hang on one second, and I'm gonna touch my calendar here. So hopefully I won't disconnect everybody. Wow, they're being really slow. So I don't know if there's kind of I don't know if there's a little bit of an apartment shortage where you are, Lynn. I'm getting, and this is bad, I don't like this, the week of between September 4th and September 15th. And it makes me wonder, okay, so I feel like there are places that you went and you applied just to get a place, but I get the feeling that you've either just recently, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, that you just recently applied to a place, or you have not even been to this place, but will be going there very shortly, and you really like it. And that's why there's going to be this big delay. So, did that make sense? Especially, about there's a place that you went to that you really liked. And I feel like that was just really recently, you've gotten clearer about what you want. And you've also kind of emotionally surrendered to it's going to take what it's going to take. So, but please, feedback, follow-up would be great. So Terry said the sign, All right, hang on a second. The signs are literally everywhere. We need to recognize them. Random things aren't so random. I mean, that is so totally true. And we just need to acknowledge them when they cross our paths. You know, I think one of the harder parts is being able to separate out, you know, what is this information and what is our mind and our brain trying to get in, and our ego trying to get in and overrule what our higher self and our spirit and our soul and God and whatever is saying to us. You know, and so if you're not sure if that is the right direction to go or the thing to do, that's when you stop. That's when you get mindful. That's when you breathe. That's when you tap. That's when you journal to clear out the ego and clear out the chatter and ask that question again. Thank you, Terry. All right. All right, Miss Veronica, I knew you would have a question. All right. Had a long time friend named Suzanne that I lived with. We had a disagreement, which was so stupid. She asked me to leave. She asked me to leave. She invited me to her wedding. So what is she thinking about our relationship or about me? That's a great question. And so I'm going to offer this piece of advice, Veronica. If you have not already done this, I would want to have a conversation with her over the phone or in person, not by text, you know, where there is actually dialogue between the two of you, so that you can you can better decide whether you want to attend the wedding or not. You know, I just had one of my clients um, had an old friend come into town that spent the weekend, and this guy is pretty aware, you know, of his inner world, kind of what have been talking about, and the friend was an old friend, you know, like from his old life, and it was very challenging for him to be with this person because he wasn't that person anymore. And so I want you to make sure that you still are resonating with this friend or not before you go to the wedding and you get there and you're like, oh my God, why did I do this? And just the fact that you're wondering and have some doubts kind of puts you into that maybe category. But I feel like if you get some input, you know, and exposure to her energy, it will be easier for you to make that decision whether you want to be in that vibration or not. All right. Okay, you know, I love when people have these comments. By the way, whoop, thanks for the career advice. Working out well so far. Yay! Don't know what I said, but I'm sure it was something. All right. All right, here's Wendy again. Here's another physical issue question. I have balance issues when standing or walking. What about that? Okay. Okay. So I'm feeling like there's kind of a two-part thing going on. So when I look at like your inner ear, so actually it's sinus, inner ear, you know, I feel like there is, and I'm going to say congestion. In one ear in particular, I feel like there's a certain level of inflammation happening, um, which is affecting what's going on. And I feel like, I mean, this inner ear thing has been going on for a while. I also am feeling like, you know, and I don't even like saying this out loud, but there is something going on with your ankles, like there's muscle weakness in the ankles, and so it is creating a certain level of, I'm going to say, instability, like it's not a solid platform for you to stand on. Um, you know, when talking about inner ear issues, it just becomes really challenging because you can only stick a Q-tip in so far. And I do feel like there's inflammation going on in there. So something that I recommend to clients, which they have yet to really give me feedback on, is okay. So do you remember? Okay, like I date myself. Back in the day, there were these like facial steamers, and you put your face in it, and you let it steam your face. Well, now they make, and I'm going to say steamers, but they just kind of go over your nose and mouth like you would see at the doctor's office. And you can use that to breathe the steam in. There are ones that you can actually put some essential oil in so you can get that aromatherapy piece to it. And I'm not really an essential oil gal here, but I feel like eucalyptus would help with some of the sinus part. Okay. All right. Hang on a second. Because they like telling me stuff, and then I'm like, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to go with that because that's what they just said into my head. Okay, so what they just said to me was another oil that you could put in there that would help. I'm going to say help clear that out is clary sage, which I had to go look it up. It's like, I don't like when they tell me stuff and I'm not really sure what all it means. Okay, so Veronica is back and says, I try to talk. She does not want to talk. If she doesn't want to talk, Veronica, then I would not go to the wedding. It's like, why go somewhere that you're not wanted and you're not welcome and you're maybe only there out of obligation? I don't even know why she would invite you if she doesn't want to talk to you. And I think that you would just go there and it would be uncomfortable. And I think you already know that. Oh. Oh, you went to the wedding. All right. So Chris says, kind of feeling like I'm being guided to search for solutions in places other than a doctor's office. Have a weird disease, gone from 300 to 122 pounds in 1 year. Doc not helping. Well, I always recommend people look for solutions to health concerns from places that are not the doctor's office. They only have a certain bag of tricks that they can pull from. And if what's going on with you doesn't fit into that model, then they have nothing. Um, I mean, even if you just go and look stuff up online, there is so much information out there that you can educate yourself with. Okay, but I am going to put a caveat there. But if you're one of those worry people, then don't do it. Then go find somebody like me that you can work with. Um, I have some clients that are worry people, and they have one little like ache or pain, and the next thing you know, they're online and they're on the phone with me going, "Oh my God, I had this like little ache in my leg, and now I think I might have leukemia. Do I have leukemia? Are they gonna amputate my leg?" And I'm like, "Babe, you need to like stay off the internet." So um, I would just look other places. Many medical doctors are just not really interested in digging into anything or helping somebody other than, their 2 seconds and here's a prescription. I wish it was different, but it's not. No, I mean, Veronica's suggesting a nebulizer, and I'm not suggesting a nebulizer because a nebulizer does the room. And what I'm talking about is something where you actually are wearing kind of a mask. Oh, so see, I'm loving this. So Chris wants to know, do I do private readings? So Chris, if you go to soulhealer.com, you can find out all about the products and services I offer. All right, back to comments. Is this my Denise Smith? I'm hoping it's my Denise Smith. Hi, Denise Smith. Um, Hi, Dr. Rita. I injured my left shoulder exercising, and chiropractic adjustments are not helping. I'm a side sleeper, which aggravates the issue. Any suggestions appreciated? Okay. So, what I'm feeling is that the injury is more muscle related versus bone related. And so the chiropractor, getting an adjustment isn't going to fix anything per se because it's more muscle related. Um, and this isn't going to be like the fastest fix, but, icing it down, making sure, and I know that you're taking anti-inflammatories, but taking your anti-inflammatories, trying not to sleep on that side would be good. And just very gentle movement, very gentle massage in that area to promote blood flow and circulation in that tissue. Again, I don't feel like it's a bone issue, but more of a muscle issue and should be addressed that way. Okay. Okay, so Terry wants me to do like a future question, and I'm like avoiding her. So the original question was, do you see my financial situation changing anytime soon? So Terry, I don't mean to be yucky. I love you, but that's like wanting me to predict the future, and I don't do that. So now, if you, all right, hang on, let me see. Okay, so I'm changing your question, Terry, to what do I need to do or what needs to be done in order to to improve the household finances? So I'm changing it into an action versus tell me something. Um, okay, so so I'm kind of looking at the whole household. But Terry, have you been looking at getting another job? I'm feeling like there are, that either somebody in the house isn't working and they should be, or that you have not really been happy in the position that you're in and have been contemplating, although not, like real seriously, getting another position. And I feel like you're ready to get another position, and move on from where you're at. I mean, I feel like you just feel stuck. And so that's my 2 cents. Um, so feel free to fill in the gaps. So Denise says, thank you so much. And there's Mr. Mark, my almost husband guy, except he's married. So that makes it just kind of weird. Uh, wow, great people tonight. Okay, so there's like 3 more, well, actually like 2 minutes. So if anybody has any little follow-up conversations, Terry, I'd love to hear from you. And Veronica, you already went to the wedding, so yeah, I would just let that friendship go if you already went. I bet it was just weird. I bet it was just weird. Weird. Okay, new comments below. All right, hang on a second. All right. Okay. Oh. All right, hang on a second. So, all right, Chris is going to check out soulhealer.com. Thanks, Chris. I look forward to hearing from you. Okay. Wendy said, thanks for your guidance. It gives me some ideas. Ask Spirit about. Excellent. Okay, so what times are right? Ling, you are going to be my last person. Hopefully I can fill this in. I've been suffering headaches every single day. Back in November, I was admitted to the hospital for double vision. I am some days up to 16 aspirin. It's not good. In one day, I'm scared what I'm doing to myself, but I need help. Doctors are no help. Okay. All right. So the first thing that you're showing me is that there are some blood flow issues happening in the back of your head, where, and going into the brain, and I'm just going to make this quick, and this is a bit more complicated of a conversation to do in like 3 seconds. Just very quick, something that I would try is ginkgo biloba and gotu kola. Ginkgo biloba and gotu kola. And you can get it at the health food store as a liquid combination. So those are 2 separate herbs that both work on opening up blood vessels in the brain. And that is something that you could take that will help with the blood flow. I mean, I feel like there's other stuff going on as well, but that is what's jumping out at me first. Anyway, so our time is up for today. Again, if you would like to schedule a private consultation, please visit my website, soulhealer.com. It's loaded with articles and my books, and you can contact me, and it's all good, and it's free. Or like my page, Dr. Rita Louise on Facebook, and you'll be informed of when the next live stream is happening. Or you can go to my YouTube channel, Just Energy Radio on YouTube, and like it, share it, subscribe it, thumbs up it, do all those things. If you know anyone else that you think would be at benefit from participating in this event, please share it. This is a public event. You do not have to be my friend, especially if you go to like Dr. Rita Louise on Facebook, or if you go to Just Energy Radio on YouTube. You do not have to subscribe. You don't have to be my friend. Hell, you don't even have to like me. Just come and hang out. And lastly, if you want to learn to become a medical intuitive counselor, or energy medicine practitioner. This is a training program that I offer everyone. So until next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live with Dr. Rita. Be blessed.